Alright guys, we're back with another Discord League Season 5 Cup match, this time round of 32, Demagogue on Phoenix versus Erik on Crane. Both of these players very strong, already getting through the round of 64 in the Season 5 Discord Cup. We're joining this game already in progress, and we'll try to catch up on what's been going on so far. Right now, Erik in a little bit of an honor squeeze and down a little bit on board, although things should equalize on the board in the next round or so. I feel like it's wise to remind players that for the Season 5 Cup that Disciples of the Void is not legal, so Phoenix is a little bit constrained in their options. Demagogue just claiming the water ring, getting out one keeper initiate. It will be Erik's turn to declare a conflict next. Erik just deciding what to do here. Void, not very impactful. Can't deny Kade. Um, the air ring could help him get out of this honor situation, and that is what he goes for. He can pull back with his doji representative unless it already has done that earlier this round. We don't know if that's happened or not due to the fact that we joined this game already in progress, but he does have the favorable ground as well. It looks like the first conflict was military fire, hitting before the throne, which is a very bad province in this matchup with Erik already low on honor. He had a brash samurai, which was assassinated. It looks like the honored Narishmo is already also in the conflict. Narishmo is used to flip politician face up. And then Erik won that conflict 4-0, honoring his representative. And then, as we already know, Demagogue won the water conflict on the snapback. Looks like on that second conflict that Erik did claim it, going up to 7 honor. Public Forum was the target, so it got its honor token instead of breaking. And now Prodigy can snap back on Void in order to remove one of those fate from the doji representative, which is pretty high impact. He'd really like to get all 3 turns out of that card. He's probably only going to get 2 at this point. Favorable ground pulls in the doji representative, likely for a for shame or just to block the unopposed bonus. This is political, so Court Games is live for both players. And it was just to block the unopposed, so the break does go through. So the board looking a little bit more even this round than the previous round. The assassination really kind of gassed Erik a little bit. Um, the first player will be Demagogue, so the doji representative will be vulnerable to a bow. Very strong flip for Demagogue. Diplomat is very strong in this matchup, and Suki is pretty much always a very high power 2-drop. Erik might want to think twice about assassination here when he's already down on 8 honor. He's down only 1 card, so he could safely bid 3 instead of 5 if he was worried that Demagogue was going to drop the bid on him. He might elect to just bid 5 though in order to avoid falling further behind. Cautious Scout is good here. He could use it to break before the throne and not take the honor loss, although he will have to worry about a Cloud the Mind. Looks like we're sending in Diplomat and K-Day for the first conflict. Bids were 3 from Demagogue, 5 from Erik, so after the Forgotten Library, they'll be even on cards. With this attack, it is a Water Ring and a Void Ring, thanks to K-Day. No more Keepers in the bin. Also, the Diplomat trigger will make this, functionally a Void, Water, and Fire conflict, provided Demagogue wins. Fertile Fields revealed, giving Erik a fate and a card. He's already used both Furies. So it will take some significant card commitment from Erik. We do see he is using one. His card total went down from 14 to 13. He's making a decision here related to the playing of the card, or Demagogue is, before it shows up in the log. I would suspect it's a for shame. For shame would be, oh no, it's a policy debate on the Diplomat. So that's a 5 to 2, 3-point lead. Erik bids 2 to guarantee the tie, and Demagogue bids 1, revealing 3 against the waves, a Cloud the Mind, Court Games Display of Power, 2 Katanas, a Let Go, 2 3 fans, and policy debate. That is a pretty beefy hand with K-Day on the board. So this ring is very significant. It can't bow anything on Erik's side of the board, but Suki triggers, Diplomat triggers, and K-Day adds the void to it. With 3 against the waves, Erik can't stick a bow on K-Day. He could stick a bow on the Diplomat, but that won't give him the win. It's a military conflict, so we know that the 2 katanas are live. The policy debate from K-Day can't really target anything yet, and the court games can't come down in this conflict. Let go in case Erik has an attachment for his own character, and censure is live as well. So a lot to consider here. I might just take the display of power. There's so many duplicates in the rest of the hand. The censure is also a good choice. There's no duplicate countering capability in the hand, so likely to have a bit of an impact. Erik draws a card, putting back up on 14. And Demagogue passes, pushing for a break through 13 cards would be a bit tricky. So we see the bonsai with the kicker coming down from Erik. Winning this conflict would prevent everything except for the Suki trigger as far as the adverse impacts of this conflict. We see the katana come down. The other katana is needed to actually be winning, and that could be there could be a let go in Erik's 13 cards since he's running 3 most likely. Yeah, Erik is actually on 2 let go and 3 fury, 2 fury used and no let go used. We see a katana come down for Erik on the doji rep. He's only running 3 katana, 3 fan, so if Demagogue wants to use his let go here, that seems like a fine choice. It could be countered by a let go from Erik, but that means Erik can't use it on a Cloud the Mind. So we see the let go on the katana. So there's no more buffs accounted for from Demagogue. Forcing in against the waves, provided that he can, will turn off the display of power for the attack coming later. Demagogue is only on 2 fate, likely trying to hold back the against the waves for the second attack from Kade, which would give him another void conflict. So Erik passes, giving the conflict to Demagogue. So now we're going to see a huge cascade of bad triggers. Yeah, honoring K-Day, honoring Suki, and Void Ring. Yeah, since Demagogue's first player, he gets choice of the ring order, so he'll remove the Fate from the Scout and bow it. Very strong play. Looks like a little bit of Chigoku buggery. He played the Diplomat with a Fate, and the Fate fell off, and the Keeper Initiate seems to have bowed. Um, it looks like there's a little bit of a bug with the resolution of the ring effects. Now with the Cautious Scout bowed and leaving play this turn, the attacks for Erik are pretty unappealing. The only characters who are going to be leaving play this round, or staying in play, are the Savvy Politician and the Whisperer. Erik does cancel the first against the waves. That is the second Voice of Otter, so Demagogue could try to push through another one, but that's all he has Fate for right now. Instead, he does not. He just plays a fan on Suki. Now he has equal standing strength to Erik, and that'll give him the win on defense with Imperial favor in the absence of card play. Erik has no fans in the yard and no court games in the yard. Demagogue will want to defend a Void Poke here, just because K-Day is pretty swole. Wouldn't want her leaving play this round. Going military is strong, voids the favor. Still down on power compared to Suki, but much closer to being able to pull off a win with just like a Bonsai or another Katana. Ooh, a bit of a flurry of card play. See, the third Voice of Honor cancels policy debate and then an admit defeat on Suki. That does clear the way for a against the waves, but if there's a first shame following behind or a court games, Demagogue might not want to contest it. Although we did see Kade stood outside the conflict after the Voice of Honor was used, so it looks like he's just going to eat the Earth Ring. Ooh, hitting the display of power at random is very nice. Cloud the Mind would also be nice, or the third against the waves. That admit defeat was a one of, but Erik is more than halfway through his deck, so not necessarily something that you could expect him to not have. Seems unlikely that the Void Ring can, or sorry, that another attack from Kade could be avoided. The question is, can he defend a political attack from the Doji Whisperer? So attacking a province is very likely to be Manicured Gardens. I like bringing the Keeper just because on defense it's just going to be bowed by the box. It does provide a little bit of court games defense for Kade. If you're gonna attack here, I think you want to go Void. Just keep Kade around for the next round. Even though it does waste her ability, it does provide you a little bit more assurance that Crane can't come back into the game. Yeah, and that's what he does. Void with only Kade, so comfortable to trade court games here. So the court game's coming down. Will we see the counter court games? We do. The Whisperer does defend. So will we see a For Shame? I think we will. I don't think Erik would have tried to prevent the break with just one card with this kind of hand size. And with the hand revealed from Demagogue. So we see the fan. We know Demagogue does have a fan, but he'd have to discard a Fine Katana. First using the box to get an extra 2 skill. And that'll be a break. I have to wonder if Erik maybe forgot to account for the the box and the calculation of deciding to defend there. It didn't seem like his Doji Whisperer was very high impact. Now that Fan will leave play without having done much. We see a Steward of Law come down for a counter poke. This could be a good conflict. It could dishonor the K-Day, or bump him back up to 6 honor. I could see either um, being important. Looks like he does want to go back up to 6 honor. With that Forgotten Library still up, he can't be very confident in his ability to keep hand parity. He is up 2 cards right now. So Keeper Initiate can be bowed by the Crane box, but playing the down the known fan does help prevent that. We knew that Demagogue had, I believe, all 3 fans in hand. Yeah. So Erik will lose that rig there. Pretty bad turn for Erik overall. K-Day really pulling weight. Likely to continue to do so next turn. I believe there's one more against the waves in Demagogue's hand. Honored characters leaving play does bump Erik back up to 6 honor. He'll be able to go up to 7 if nothing else changes after this upcoming round if the Savvy Politician leaves play still honored. Sukune and another Diplomat for Demagogue, who's on 7 Fate. Erik gets a pretty good first turn flip with 9 Fate. You can play the Challenger and the Brash Samurai and the Whisperer too if he doesn't fate them up too heavily. Demagogue can't efficiently play both of his characters, but 2 Forgot Libraries is really nice. Both players' starting boards will clear at the end of round. So we see the Sukune come down with 2 for Demagogue. And Erik passes early, likely indicating a political rival. He is running 3 rivals and we have not seen any yet. Erik bidding 3, Demagogue bidding 1. I do think we'll see all 4 conflicts this round, so Sukune won't be super high impact. If Demagogue can get her honored, though, that'll be a large beat stick for next round moving forward. Erik taking the last fade off of rings is very important. If the challenger pulls in its choice of target, it can't stand back up afterwards. Interestingly, Kade can't be dishonored by the fire ring. She is immune to ring effects, but Sukune is such a juicy target that I doubt that'll be much of a problem for Erik if he does win this. Kade wins the known policy debate. The hand is Fury Bonsai Court Games. Noble Sack, which is very scary here. If Sukune gets dishonored, there's an easy noble sacrifice on the table already. Another policy debate in Erik's hand. Fan, Steward of Law, Political Rival, Way of the Crane. So pretty strong hand. He does have the bonsai. Discarding the rival does make Erik's turn extremely awkward. I think often conflict characters are a good choice for political policy debates. So the bonsai can only take Erik up to 7, and that's all he's got for buffs here. There's no combo for the Steward of Law in hand. At this point, Erik should probably just pull in a beefy target. Opting to pull in Suki, it's a good choice. Demagogue winning 13-3. So Demagogue's hand is 3 unknowns, and against the waves and a cloud the mind. There should still be one more fan in Demagogue's hand, actually. So Demagogue deciding here what attack, if any, to make. I think Water Ring is good to bow the Savvy Politician, but you can't really push too hard on it. You know that Crane has Ornate Fan, Steward of Law, Wave the Crane in court games. Not to mention Fury, which could hit the Diplomat, although the box would just bow that. So if you attack with less than both of your characters here, you just fold to the box or court games on Sukune. Um, I think you'd have to have played something pre-conflict or have very specific cards in hand to actually get anything out of this. Sukune still has pretty attractive ring targets for the end of turn, and Erik can only take one of them off the table. Erik won't want to take an unopposed here, though. If he does swing in political, he has the favor if the characters get bowed or potatoed. Um, but military attack here is pretty appealing. The bonsai being the main concern for that. So Tsukune alone is going to be a military conflict if it is a conflict here. Demagogue really taking his time to think. Erik's not going to want to take an unopposed, isn't going to want to take an air ring, um, but I think it'll be a water to bring the keeper back and bow one of the two Crane characters. That way, if he defends, the defend plus the bow will bow out Erik's board, and the only conflict character in hand is the. Oh, interesting. It's political, so this means I think that Demagogue has court games in hand. It would be his second court game, so very likely, or moderately likely, that he could have it. Sukune can't be bowed by Miyamoto's Fury, with only one province still face down. A For Shame could be a pain in the ass, but Erik's hand is face up and doesn't have one. So the relevant cards for this conflict is the Court Games Ornate Fan, um, Steward of Law, Way of the Crane. So this defense will be 3 skill going up to 5 skill with fan if it's necessary. We see the known court games come out from Erik. Cancelled with censure, that was always an option. And a fan coming down on Sukune, making this a 7-3, which is a break. This would put Demagogue on Erik's stronghold, which is entrenched position for the next round. Yeah, and now the board will be bowed for Erik after this conflict. Although I think Suki will actually be stood here. It's better than bowing the Steward of Law with the second Steward of Law still in hand. Suki gives you a pretty impenetrable defense for the next conflict from Erik. Although I have to think about the hands. If he's getting the keeper, and the keeper plus the favor. Keeper plus the favor should be enough for defense here. Because the fan. Yeah, okay. So Steward coming down to block the break. And the break is blocked. Oh yeah, K-Day. Huh. That's obvious. Okay, interesting. So stopping the break does mean that Erik probably doesn't lose this round. Next round is still looking pretty bad though, although he has managed to maintain a 4-fate lead. Doing an Earth conflict here seems like a reasonable choice. The other 2 rings will go to Demagogue here thanks to Sukune, even though he will likely get a break with K-Dave for one of them. Demagogue's just gonna eat this conflict. And Erik may well get the break here. Ooh, Demagogue discards Fury from hand. He was on no fate, couldn't play that. But a good discard for Erik. And now there's a mystery card in Erik's hand. Yeah, so the air conflict here, on an unopposed, will drop Erik down to 2 honor and also get the Void Ring and then get another Void Ring from Sukune. So very nasty. Sukune will clear that Doji Challenger, leaving Erik with only one Steward of Law against Honored Sukune and Keeper Initiate going into the next round. Demagogue will be first player, so it's very possible we'll just see a Stronghold break here. Guest of Honor will help with the defense, as will Doji Challenger, if he manages to draw another political rival that could also help him with the defense. Um, Suki and Adept of the Waves are a little less than perfect for a political swing into the Interns position under the box, because there are no more fans for Demagogue. But he does still have the 12 or 10 strength from Sukune plus 2 from the fan that Erik will have to defend. He can also covert one character, but that's less relevant with the favorable ground on Erik's side. So we do see the Guest of Honor come down. There is a previously revealed Cloud the Mind in uh, Demagogue's hand, but there's also 2 unaccounted for let goes on Erik's side. So we do see the Suki come down with 2 Fate. The Narishma comes out, so there will be no challenger. I think it's pretty darn hard for Erik to defend this. Erik looking for answers here, drawing 2 to Demagogue's 1. I think Demagogue had to bid 1, especially with the library, to give him the extra draw just to keep Erik from doing any funny business. An unanswered for shame would pretty much prevent the political break, and it would be hard to get a military break here. Um, the Guest of Honor is certainly annoying. Um, at the same time, Demagogue has pretty much no way to lose the game this round, so I think he's just taking his time to figure out exactly how he wants to present a threat to Erik. A good start is Cloud the Mind on Guest of Honor. Way of the Crane comes down on Guest of Honor. Players being very deliberate here. I think it's pretty unlikely that Demagogue actually loses his first conflict at the Stronghold. So he will be able to get a ring effect if he doesn't win the game outright. I think the problem for him is that he's got a very small hand, and it pretty much, I think, just one for shame of the two remaining out of Erik kind of ruins his day a little bit. Because Sukune would no longer be honored, um, or no longer be standing. Erik flipping Narishma, and seeing Yoshi. So Demagogue uses his political conflict here to flip the entrenched position. Um, because of the favor, this does provide an awkward defense for Erik. And this is the Void Ring. The Guest of Honor commits to a defense here. There will be 4 skill for the military conflict next, which would mean that uh, Demagogue would have to get to 16 to break. Leaving the Steward back does leave for shame live for the next conflict. Guest of Honor just initiating a policy debate here that Demagogue just sort of walked into, revealing Against the Waves court games and for shame. With that hand, I'm not entirely sure why he didn't just go for it. I'm sure Demagogue is a better player than me, but I guess the Guest of Honor could still have just policy debated Suki or the Keeper if they came along for the other conflict. Demagogue taking the for shame makes sense. The other card isn't live in the next conflict coming at him this turn. Um, and favorable grounding home, so keeping those 2 military strength live for the next conflict. So it looks like Erik's gonna eat it here. Losing. Okay, yeah. Steward of Law comes down to block the unopposed, which seems good. So Erik has to declare this turn either fire or air to not lose the game. Sukune, um, with her ability, has the ability to get rid of Erik's last 2 honor if both of those rings are available. You have to imagine one of them is going to be Demagogue's next attack, if not water. Erik also can't afford to take an unopposed, obviously. So Steward of Law representing the smallest threat that Erik can present without compromising his defenses anymore. Deciding to go up before the throne is a safe choice since Demagogue's hand is known. Can't break it, obviously. I think Erik's still on a bonsai for the next attack coming at him. So swinging in mill, guest of honor, the air ring to pump himself back up to 4, up before the throne. Sukune coming in to block the air ring, potentially. Military water declared at the stronghold. So it's going to take Steward of Law and a card or Narishma to defend this. So this conflict will be successfully defended by Erik. So no keeper and no bow for Demagogue. This Steward of Law can poke in with Earth. Yeah, the Water Ring getting claimed by Erik. Sorry, the Water Ring being claimed doesn't prevent Suki from honoring herself. Erik taking this opportunity to flip a province that's very unlikely to hurt him. Um, Demagogue defends. And we get the pass-through. So the Fire Ring is the only ring available for Sukune, but it is an impactful one. It can drain Erik down to 1, and that's what we see, a Dishonor on Narishma. So going into the next turn, Erik is down on 1 honor and 1 fate, Demagogue up to 3 fate. The one saving grace for Erik is that he is first player. Hopefully he can find something to dig himself out of the hole, but I don't know what it would be. Um, Yoshi without an ability with 2 Way of the Cranes already used is not super easy to leverage. A Guest of Honor is nice, but Demagogue's not going to have many cards to block. Representative, you know, he can feint an attack, but I'm not sure what he can do that Demagogue actually has to overcommit. Prodigy for Demagogue, very good here. Atsuko also good for a stronghold push. Yeah, I think this is a very good flip for Demagogue with 10 Fate available. We do see the second Guest of Honor with 2 Fate come down for Erik. That's going to be his dynasty phase. And we see the Atsuko for Demagogue, which still leaves open the ability to play the Meddling Mediator. I think the Mediator's worth it, frankly. Demagogue putting 1 Fate. So Demagogue's board very scary this turn and next turn. These Forgotten Libraries have been putting in a lot of work for Demagogue. He's gotten many free draws. I think it's part of the reason why Erik is down as low on Fate as he is. A political rival revealed from Artisan Academy is actually very nice here. Although with Honored Sukune, the military push could be enough even with the entrenched position, and even though Erik is known to have a bonsai. So Erik has a 1-4 and a 2-5 to work with, and a political rival on top of deck with just barely enough Fate to play it. Yeah, we see a military air here. What will we see for the defense? Oh, yep. This was a risk. Demagogue could have drawn his second Miyamoto's Fury in those two cards, so he had a 2 out of 14 and 2 out of 13 chance to draw. And with that, we see a concession from Erik, which is fair because if the air ring resets to the available pool, then Demagogue has to win the conflict by just, a 0 point margin instead of a larger margin to actually win the game. So pretty brutal last few turns for Erik, but I think he played them fairly well. Um, and the game goes to Demagogue. So with that, Demagogue will advance to the Season 5 Cup um, round of 16. I think he's the first player, or at very least one of the first players to get that far. So he'll be the third player to advance to the round of 16, the top 16 of the Season 5 Cup. And his next opponent will be Byron Crane, Bayushi Noman, who's a very strong Scorpion player. And with Disciples of the Void not legal for this event, the Phoenix decks are very vulnerable to Scorpion. So he'll have a very difficult challenge to advance past the top 16 this season, but best of luck to him. So that'll do it with this cast. We'll be back later, hopefully with co-commentators to give you more coverage of the Season 5 Cup and Last Chance Qualifier. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a good day.